That's right, 48 hours with the Google Pixel 11 Pro. $1099. That's a $100 price increase from last year. Granted, it's now 256 gigs, but also dropped from 16 gigs of RAM to 12 gigs. Anyway, 48 hours in, it reminds me of the Pixel 10 Pro with some slight changes, and that's a good thing. It is, because I really like the Pixel 10 Pro. This Pixel 11 Pro is great, and I'm going to talk about some of the things that I've noticed. But overall, like if you've used a Pixel device, you're really going to like this phone as well. And I guess Google's going with like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it design. And that's, I guess, leads us into design. And I'm okay with this, although they did kind of push out the camera bar to take up the entirety of this piece right here. So if you remember last year with the Pixel 10 Pro, like the glass wasn't fully across. Now it kind of is. But now we get that new highlight feature, which I will be talking about in a moment. But also definitely be sure to subscribe to the channel as we're making our way towards 100,000 subscribers. It truly does mean a lot. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for supporting the channel and for just tuning in. It truly does make this dream become a reality. But getting back to this design, I had the obsidian color. And by the way, all the other colors are really nice, but I picked up this obsidian color because for the past year, I was asking Google, please make a matte black Pixel. And you know what they did? They listened. Maybe it wasn't just me, but I know a lot of people were asking for a matte black Pixel, and we finally got it. Matte sides. You won't get this with the other colors. They still have glossy sides, but this specific obsidian color has a matte finish, both on the side railings right here, but also around like the camera bar, as you can see. Absolutely beautiful. Does the Google logo icon is still kind of glossy, so that can still attract a bit more fingerprints, but this in and of itself is great. Now there is also the fact that with this design, it does have Pixel Snap, and if you do use MagSafe chargers, you're going to kind of see a cutout there. Granted, I'm using this case from D-Brand. They sent it out. They're not sponsoring this video, but I love this ghost case. It just looks super aesthetically clean, and it doesn't even add bulk to the case. There it is. But yeah, this is the case I've been rocking on a daily right now, and it's gorgeous. I'll leave a link in the description down below, as well as their screen protectors. And they have a couple more cases as well. But yeah, that's the case I'm using. Display on this is gorgeous. I know some people are going to complain about the thicker bezels compared to its, I guess, flagship competitors, the iPhones, the Samsungs. And you know what? That's fine. Like, it's not too much of a concern. Yeah, would I have liked to have seen thinner bezels? Yes, but it's not a huge issue. I saw some comments on Threads and on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and people were complaining about just the thickness of the bezels. Like, it's not, look, maybe in video and photos it looks like that, but in person it's really not that bad. I don't know why people are complaining about it. Yes, it would have been nice if it was like super slim. Yes, I would have liked if the camera cutout was a little bit smaller, but it's not, that this is what we get. It's fine. It also does have IP68. It has a fingerprint sensor, which I don't really use, but this design overall feels premium. Is the build quality good? So far, it's been good. I mean, I don't actually know the build materials. I don't know how well they're going to last into the next year. We're going to have to see on that. But overall, so far, it's been fine. Now, this new hardware and software feature is Highlight, or the Pixel Glow. So essentially, I'll show it right here, is you have two ways of having it work. One is if you get a phone call and you assign a specific color to someone, then yeah, it's going to light up. But it only has a certain amount of colors. So like you can assign like blue to 2 or 3 different people. So when they call, you won't really know who exactly it is out of those 3 people. But the other one is for Gemini. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trigger Google by saying the phrase. I'm going to mute this part so you guys don't have your devices trigger. How are you doing today, and what's the weather like in Orlando, Florida?
I'm doing great, thank you. Orlando weather. It is around 89 degrees Fahrenheit to 94 degrees Fahrenheit with a high heat index. Expect a mix of sun and clouds with a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm.
So there is the highlight feature essentially. And that's really it. Like, how often are people going to use that specific feature? I mean, yeah, if you're at your table at work or at home and you put your phone facing down and you get a phone call or a notification, for example, then yes, I think it would come in real handy. But how many people are using it for Gemini? I don't know. Maybe this will become mainstream. I don't think so. Google has not opened it to third parties, but I have found, and I'll leave a link in the description down below of a developer just made an app, and it works as an LED notification light. I have yet to try it out, but as soon as I do, I'll share that with you guys in my upcoming videos. But I'm excited to try it out. Also, check the link in the description down below. I don't know why Google didn't do it in the first place, but oh well. Anyway, moving on into the software and the performance. And you know what? It's got Tensor G6. It's been good so far. It's built on a 3nm processor. It's from MediaTek, I believe, so it's not using a Samsung Exynos modem, which is great because Samsung Exynos, honestly, it's not the greatest. I personally like this Tensor G6 and that Google decided to go with this modem instead. And 48 hours later, it's been good. Buttery smooth, everything opens up really quick. If you put it in benchmark scores, yeah, it's not going to be the highest end numbers. And I don't think Google is aiming for that. I don't think Google is aiming their Pixel devices to be for heavy users, like productivity users in the sense of, or just heavy gaming, multitasking a lot, needing all of that core raw power. Google is not aiming their Pixel device for those people. It would be nice if they had like a Pixel Ultra that did that, but they don't. This still, however, like I've opened up Clash of Clans, played it for a couple minutes. It was great. Obviously, YouTube and browsing the web, using it for social media, it's been really good so far. I have no complaints. I really like just the layout of Pixel UI as well. I've said it in past videos, and now that I'm wearing Pixel Watch 5 too, I get to rock both of these together. But I'm going to say in this video, I don't know about what it is with Material 3 Expressive and just Pixel UI in general, but just makes me feel kind of productive and I want to get work done. I know those who have Pixels will understand me. I just want to point that out. But anyway, it also has Android 7. Obviously, you get those Pixel drops every once in a while, so that's great. Google does offer and hopefully will support 7 years of OS and security updates, which is the same commitment as last year. We'll see in 7 years if Pixel 11 Pro really does get that. But so far, I mean, Pixel 10 Pro is getting Android 17, so that's 1 year in. It also does have the Titan M3 security chip. And again, this is with the Tensor G6, 50% more TPU compute than Tensor G5. That is good. And the one downside, though, I think is, and a lot of people are, this whole discussion about RAM is, all right, you brought it down to 12 gigs of RAM. That's great. Well, it's not great, but you get what I mean. Your previous model had 16 gigs. You brought it down to 12 gigs. I'm pretty sure it's because of all the shortage and the prices going up. Okay, I get that. But if you're really pushing hard on AI and on-device models and those specific things needing a lot of power and a lot of RAM, how many years will this specific device be able to support that? And yes, you can go for the higher end tier for like a terabyte of storage, whatever, for 16 gigs of RAM. Yes, but how many people are really doing that? I think a lot of people are going to stick around like 256 to 512, right? And it just kind of is a little bit disappointing in that regards. Maybe they could have put in 16 gigs, kept it like last year. I don't really know why. But again, like 2-3 years down the line, will the highest end AI models be able to work on Pixel 11 Pro? I don't really think so. So far, it's been really good. I mean, using it for Gemini, it's been awesome. There is the new Rambler feature, which I'm actually going to open up and show you guys real quick. So you can use it for texting. I'm in a Notes app right now. So I'm going to press this icon right here. And essentially, just watch me ramble, just talk. And it's going to hopefully fix it up. Let's do get started while using the app. Okay, so I just picked up the latest Pixel 11 Pro. Wait, no. Yes, yeah. It was a Pixel 11 Pro, and I also did pick up the Pixel Watch 5. I forgot what color. Wait, no, I think it was in satin. It was in the satin color. Yeah, I picked that up, and so far it's been awesome. And Google has been doing a pretty decent job in terms of, I guess you can say software and also in AI, but the whole RAM shortage and storage and all that stuff is, it's kind of heartbreaking. There you go. Look at that. So it took all of those like ahs and ums. I just picked up the latest Pixel 11 Pro, and I also did pick up the Pixel Watch 5 in the satin color. I picked that up, and so far it's been awesome. Google has been doing a pretty decent job in terms of software and also in AI, but the whole RAM shortage and storage and all that stuff is kind of heartbreaking. That's pretty good. Now, I don't know how many times I would use this or how often I would use it for text. Maybe if like I just don't want to text something super long, then I would. But that is pretty good. It does sound like AI. It does sound a little robotic. It doesn't really have that human touch to it, if you know what I mean. And I'm sure if you're talking to your friends and family and you use Rambler and you send that message to them, they're gonna realize that okay, this is probably AI or it's voice dictation. They probably won't know it's a Rambler, but they will also know it's not you. But nonetheless, that's a really good feature. So kudos to Google in that regards. So you get these really nice AI features that are exciting, and hopefully I'm going to continue to keep using them. Now let's get into the cameras, because I guess the big thing here is the new telephoto 5x lens. Everything else, like the 50 megapixel sensor main and the 48 megapixel ultra wide, they're essentially kind of unchanged, as well as a 42 megapixel front facing camera has been unchanged. And I gotta tell you, I think for photos, Pixel 11 Pro just is still up there. Like if you wanna pick up a phone just for stills and just for photos, then this is the phone to get. I think for videos, iPhone still comes out on top, and just the consistency, but for photos, definitely hands down with the Pixel 11 Pro. And then there's also here, I'll even show you, it's 120 zoom. And I gotta tell you, the 120x zoom is really, really good. Well processed, it's sharp. The regular photos as well, they're sharp and well processed too. You're obviously gonna be seeing computational photography with these results, but they're not like going to the extreme. They are capturing very good photos, both in daylight and when you have, when you're in a low light situation. It does a really, really good job. There is Magic Capture, which I haven't really used. It's a new mode that automatically captures photos and videos while you let the camera run, which uses AI to select the best moments. If you have if you have a pet or if you have any kids, I feel like this would work well. Or like, yeah, if your kids, play sports, that would be pretty cool too. While, you have the video on, you let the camera run, it's using AI to select those best moments. That's pretty cool. But otherwise, like I didn't really use that specific feature. Just for photos, for me, it comes out on top. I will be comparing this to the Pixel 10 Pro as well as the iPhone 17 Pro, so stay tuned for those videos. And honestly, probably the Galaxy S26 Ultra, and only because like I don't have the Pro XL. I think it doesn't make sense to make that review, but I still think I may share it with you guys. Let me know in the comments down below. The battery life so far has been pretty decent. Standby time, I'll tell you, has been really, really good. The wired charging, I guess, still sticks around at 30 watts. The Pro XL goes up to 45, which gets about like 75% in 30 minutes. I don't know why. I think the only difference between a Pro and a Pro XL should truly be just the display and obviously the physical battery capacity, but the charging speed at least should have been the same, but it's not, which is a little bit unfortunate. And this Pixel 11 Pro, it gets a slightly smaller battery capacity than the 10 Pro, like 20 to 30 milliamp hours smaller. It's not a huge difference, and on paper it looks backwards, but in practice, with the Tensor G6 efficiency and those improvements, it does mean that, you know, real world battery life is going to be pretty good. And so far, I think the standby time has been much better. I'll tell you that. The battery life, though, I'm not too sure yet because, again, like I spent one day just kind of moving everything over, setting it up, and that's really it. And then the second day, just kind of playing around with it. But I have to test this out a little bit more, so stay tuned, and I'll report that with you guys. But so far, it's been pretty decent. Again, because it has Pixel Snap, I'm really happy with that. Or you can pick up a MagSafe case as well. It's a little bit, I feel like it's a tad bit higher than the iPhone, but it's something you're going to have to get used to. Now, here's the thing, just to kind of wrap things up and share with you guys my concerns, some of the concerns. Again, it's the RAM, 12 gigs on the base model. You know, in practice, yes, right now it hasn't shown any issues, but long term, that concern still remains. And then the price, obviously, it's going up $100. So you're getting, for that extra $100, essentially slightly smaller battery capacity. Yes, I know Tensor G6 will help with efficiency, but again, looking at paper, the same wired charging speed, less base RAM. Yes, you know, camera, you get camera upgrades, some display upgrades with a brightness of 3000 nits. And I'll tell you, in outdoors, it is awesome. But are those really features that justify the price hike? I don't really know. And I don't think highlight is also a feature that justifies the price hike. That's just me. But overall, I'm still really happy with this device. 48 hours in, I can't wait to continue to use the cameras, the display, the chip, and see how well it performs in the long run, and also test more of highlight using that third-party app. So yeah, drop a comment down below. Do you plan on upgrading to the Pixel 11 Pro or plan on skipping it for next year? What are your thoughts about this? Maybe thoughts about Pixel Watch 5 and Pixel 11 Pro Fold. But that's been it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, definitely be sure to smash the like button, comment down below, and best of all, share this video because it really does help out the channel out a lot and will help push my content out to more people. Definitely be sure to check out my wallpaper pack right here. It is called Lava Flow. Links in the description down below. It's been it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll catch you all in the next episode.